Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, I would like to thank to Allah that has given us health. So this time we can be here and do our presentation by via daring. I thank to Allah by saying Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. And I also want to thank to the lecturer and all of you for this great opportunity. My beloved friends, may I have your attention? And let me introduce myself and my group. My name is Wahyuni. As you probably know, I'm here. I'm here in my function as moderator, and our topic is postmodernism, globalization, and U.S. literary culture. Allow me introduce the speaker presenter from Group 2. This is Nur Leila Arianto, Nur Adariana Sangmin, and Asahra Karina. Please introduce yourself, guys.
Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Norlaila Arianto, a member of Group 2, and I will explain about the styles of globalization. My student number 19521400014. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nur Adhariana Sarmin, and I'm a member of Group 2, and I'm talk about postmodern politics of postmodernism.
Hello, my name is Asahra Karina. My student number is 19521410018, and I will explain about United States literary culture. Thank you.
Okay, now moving along to our session, please to Nur Adagana Sarmin to explain your part. Please.
Okay, so here I will discuss about the politics of postmodernism. As we know, debates around the definition of postmodernism turn in most cases upon whether the idea should be understood primarily in formalist or historical terms. Those who argue for a formalist category, such as Hazen, tended to compare and contrast modernism to postmodernism, suggesting that the emphasis in the former on such qualities as form, conjunctive, clause, or hierarchy could be contrasted with anti-form, disjunctive, open, and anarchy in the latter. The first thing about British culture critic Stuart Hall in 1986 declared that the term postmodernism primarily signified how the world dreams itself to be American, and the dreams of an unfettered global marketplace dominated by Western capitalism, a fantasy that became more prevalent after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, led to an assumption in some quarters during the last decade of the 20th century that the values of US postmodernism were simply going to conquer the world. More about the Japanese American scholar Masao Miyoshi similarly envisaged in 1993 a borderless world, and although this vision of a world without frontiers might now seem as illusion as the gaudy capitalist spectacles of the Jazz Age, it is important for culture historians to recognize how powerful was this vision of a millennial America in the last decade of the 20th century. Miyoshi's essay invoked the nation state as a nostalgic and sentimental myth, and envisaged a world dominated by transnational corporations. But it's clear that within this paradigm, such corporations were centered firmly in the United States, which was effectively exporting itself in this sense as a global empire. one driven by the transfer of information across national borders. That was some of the material and politics of postmodernism. For the next material, discussing styles of globalization will be discussed by my friend Nurlaila Arianto. Time and place are welcome. Thanks.
Okay. Um, okay. I'm going to explain about the styles of globalization. There are three styles of globalization, which I will explain today. But before discussing that, let me explain about what globalization is. Globalization is a process of international integration that occurs due to the exchange of worldviews, products, thoughts, and other cultural aspects. It's like the advancement of transportation and telecommunication infrastructure, including the emergence of the telegraph and the internet, is a major factor in globalization, which increasingly encourages the interdependence of economic and cultural activities. So that uh, that was about what is globalization is. So let's move to the styles of globalization or a type of globalization. The first one is political globalization. Political globalization refers to the amounts of political cooperation that exists between different countries. These ties in with the belief that, like umbrella, for example, the global organizations are better placed than individual states to prevent conflict. The League of Nations, established after WW1, was certainly one of the pioneers in this. Since then, global organizations such as the World Trade Organization or WTO, United Nations or UN, and more regional organizations such as the EU have helped to increase the degree of political globalization. So the second one is social globalization. Social globalization refers to the sharing of ideas and information between and through different countries. Um, for example, in today's world, like the internet and social media is at the heart of this. A good example of social globalization could include like internationally popular films, books, and TV series like the Harry Potter, Twilight films, and the other books that have been successful all over the world, making the characters feature globally recognizable. However, this cultural flow tends to flow from the center, uh, such as the USA, to less developed countries. Social globalization is often criticized for eroding cultural differences. So the third one, economic globalization. Economic globalization refers to the interconnectedness of economics through trade and the exchange of resources. Effectively, therefore, no national economy really operates in isolation, which means national economic influence each other. This is clearly evidenced by global recession from 2007 onwards. Economic globalization also means that there is a two-way structure for technologies and resources. For example, like countries like the USA will sell their technologies to countries which lack these, and natural resources from developing countries are sold to the developed countries that need them. That's about three types of globalization, but I'll explain a little about globalization, how globalization was in the old times. Since 1980, has been globalization has been impelled by various factors. The most conspicuous of which is a revolution in a communication technology that has made the transmission of ideas and commodities across national frontiers much easier, and which in turn has the economic of nation state more exposed. So the last point is it was the 1980s, according to Roger Burbeck, that finance capital began to exert a more decisive influence over state policies, with cuts in public funding running alongside a shift from labor-intensive to capital-intensive industry as a process of economic globalization was driven by transnationalization of production and capital ownership. So that is all I can say about uh, three types of globalization. Let's move to the next presenter, Asahra Karina.
Okay, in this section, we will talk about United States literary culture. There are three peoples who are involved in United States literary culture. The first one is Kincaid. Kincaid was born in 1949 as a line potter Ricardson on the Caribbean island of Antigua. She lived in Antigua until 1965, and her popular work is Small Place. In this book, she explained how in this small place that seems to be confined in time and place. And also, she talked about the emancipation. Uh, it happened only the other day in their country. No more than 150 years old, this was the world of Alice in the Wonderland, where slavery was still part of the collective imagination. The second one is Morrison or Toni Morrison. Is another American novelist was born in 1931 under the name of Kylo Antonio Crawford. Especially, she was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1993, originally from Ohio. The popular work is The Blue Eyes, and the last is Kingston. Kingston was born in Stockton, California, to a family of Chinese immigrants. Her first published work is The Woman Warrior in 1977 and talk about fantasy. The second book of Kingston is Chinaman, which is talk about autobiography. Those are three people who are involved in United States. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. And now I will read the conclusion. American world literature, as Moretti said, world literature is general. It's accordingly not an object, but a problem, not one that asks for a new critical method to trust how the spreads of American literature and world literature have converged and diverged since white settlers first introduced on the North American continent in the 17th century is consequently to gain a clear sense of how American literature has always accommodated a spherical trajectory, albeit in partial and asymmetrical ways, and should be seen as much more than merely a nationalist enterprise. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end part of our presentation. We would like to say thanks again to audience for watching this our video presentation. And we are so sorry. Uh, uh, we are so sorry if we make a mistake and hopefully the presentation will be beneficial for you all, and I hope we are given help avoid the coronavirus. So 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 stay home and stay safe. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.